have lots of jars lying around your house, then this crochet project is perfect for you. I'm going to show you how to turn your glass jars into a flower-inspired crochet jewelry holder. Hi, if you don't already know me, my name is Kennedy and I create crochet and craft content. Now, this is actually going to be my second tutorial that uses jars. In my first one, I showed you how to repurpose an old glass jar and turn it into a mushroom lamp or storage container. And like that tutorial, this project also makes a really fun and unique gift, and you can complete it relatively quickly. This jewelry holder has space to organize your rings, earrings, and even your necklaces, which are stored on the inside of the jar. I'm actually really enjoying thinking of creative ways to repurpose all of my old jars, so if you want more crochet tutorials that use jars, let me know in the comments below. To start, let's talk about the materials you'll need for this project. You'll need a glass jar of your choice. I'm using a jar that has a slightly tapered top because I want to try and get as close to that flower stem shape as possible, but you can of course use any jar that you have. It doesn't have to look like the one I'm using. You'll also need your yarn of choice in 3 colors. One for the stem, one for the flower center, and one for the petals. It can be any weight or size, any fiber type. Here are all the details from the label of my yarn in case it's helpful. Grab a crochet hook in whatever size fits the yarn you're using, a tapestry needle for weaving in your ends, scissors, and something to use as a stitch marker. I always just use a bobby pin or an earring. Let's talk about the techniques used in this tutorial. You'll need to know how to do a slip knot, how to create a chain, how to do a single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet, and a treble crochet stitch. You'll need to know how to crochet in the round and do decreases and increases. And this is optional, but knowing how to do a magic ring is also really helpful. If you're unfamiliar with any of these techniques, or maybe you just need to brush up on it, I'll put a link to a playlist that has tutorials on how to do all of these techniques. So if you're ever confused throughout this tutorial, definitely go back and reference that playlist to refresh your memory. Let's get into part 1 of the tutorial. First, we're going to start a circle. I like to use the magic ring method, but if that's too confusing for you, I have a tutorial linked in the description with an easier way to start a circle using chains. So once you make your magic circle, you're going to chain 2. And I always like to chain 1 first and then kind of take it off my fingers and tighten the circle. I think it's just like easier to handle. So I've chained 1 and I'm going to do my second chain. And so this counts as our first stitch, and we're going to put 11 more half double crochets into the ring. So yarn over, pull through, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 to do a half double crochet. And so I'm just going to continue putting half double crochets into the circle, and so meet me back once you're done and we'll move on to the next step. I finished adding 11 half double crochets into the center of my circle plus my original chain for a total of 12 stitches because, as a reminder, that first chain counts as a stitch. Next, we're going to slip stitch into the top of our original chain 2 to close the circle and just pull on the end of that string to tighten it all up. Now we're going to increase our circle until it's as big as the bottom of our jar. To do this, we're going to start by chaining 2, and then we're going to place a half double crochet into the same stitch as the chain 2 for our first increase. So yarn over and insert your hook, yarn over again, pull through, you have 3 loops on your hook, and yarn over, pull through all 3. So in the second stitch, we're going to do another increase. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and add another stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook again, and yarn over, pull through all 3 for your second increase, and then go ahead and just keep adding increases all the way around for a total of 24 stitches. Once you reach the end and you have a total of 24 stitches, slip stitch into the top of your chain 2 to close the round. We're going to continue to increase the size of our circle in our next round. So start by chaining 2, and in the same stitch add a half double crochet for our first increase. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and in our next stitch we'll add 1 half double crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And in the next stitch, we'll add an increase. So that's 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. And we're just going to repeat this pattern of alternating between 1 half double crochet and an increase, 1 half double crochet and an increase, all the way until we reach the end of the round. So do all of your stitches and then meet me back for the next step. I've finished all of my stitches and now I'm slip stitching into the top of my chain 2 to close the round. And at this stage, my circle is big enough to cover the bottom of my jar, but your jar is probably a different size than mine, so if you need to continue increasing your circle, I put a link to a tutorial in the description for you to use. But the TLDR is that each round you add another half double crochet in between your increases. So for example, the next round would be 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet and an increase, and then just repeating that pattern all the way around. And then the next round after that would be 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, so 3, and then an increase, and then again just repeating that till you reach the end of the round. Now that my circle is the right size, I'm going to build it up vertically by placing 1 half double crochet in each stitch for several rounds. So start by chaining 2, and in the next stitch, we're going to place a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and like I mentioned, we're just going to put 1 half double crochet into each stitch until you reach the end. Once you're done, as always, you're going to slip stitch into the top of your chain 2 to close the round. And moving forward, I'm just going to repeat this row of 1 half double crochet in each stitch for about 3 to 4 rounds. For reference, I ended up doing about a total of 5 of these rounds, and it measures about 1.5 inches, but you can do more or less depending on the look you want and the size of your jar or the size of your yarn. So for example, if you're using a smaller jar than me, or maybe a chunkier yarn, you might need less rounds to get to 1.5 inches, or maybe you just want a different look. So again, it's totally up to you how many rounds that you do. Now we're going to work on the mesh section, which will be the space to hold your earrings. So start by chaining 4, that's 3 and 4. We're going to skip the next stitch and add a treble crochet into the one after. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, you have 4 loops on your hook, and so yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again, and finally yarn over, pull through the last 2. Next we're going to chain 1 and skip the next stitch, and in the one after we're going to place another treble crochet. So yarn over twice and insert your hook into the stitch and do a treble crochet. And again, we're just going to repeat this pattern of chaining 1, skipping the next stitch, and placing a treble crochet in the one after. Continue doing this until you reach the end of the round. Once you get to the end, there should be one last space. We're going to chain 1, skip that last space, and slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the original 4 chains that we made at the beginning in order to close the round. The next round is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So start by chaining 1, and in the next stitch place a single crochet. Continue placing 1 single crochet into each stitch until you reach the end. After you slip stitch into your first chain 1 to close the round, this is what it looks like. You're going to repeat this pattern of one row of mesh and one row of single crochets until it covers the majority of your jar. For me, that was about 8 rows and it measured to be 3 inches. But again, you can do more or less depending on the size of your jar, your yarn, or just the look you want to achieve. So once you finish doing your rows, meet me back for the next step. Like I mentioned earlier, my jar is slim thick and tapered at the top, so I'm going to do a round of decreases. But if your jar is the same width all the way around, you can skip this part. For my round of decreases, I'm starting with a chain 1. In the next stitch, place a single crochet. For the decrease, insert your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over and pull through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, and yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. In the next stitch, I'm going to place a single crochet, and in the one after, I'll do a decrease. So I'm just going to repeat 1 single crochet, 1 decrease until I reach the end of the row. Next, I did rows and rows where I put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So as you can see here, I already did about 10 rows, and because my bottle is tapered, I actually crocheted around the bottle. This is because the decreases I did made the crochet cover too small to take off the bottle, but if your bottle is the same width all the way around, you won't have to do this. So I'm going to continue doing rows and rows of crochet where I just put 1 single crochet in each stitch until I get to the very top of the bottle and I can't see the glass anymore. For me, this ended up being a total of 14 rows. Once you crochet to the top, it's time to add the loops, which will keep our necklaces organized. Start by chaining 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Skip the next stitch and slip stitch into the one after. This is going to create our first loop. Then in the next stitch, we're going to add a single crochet. Chain 8, and then skip the next stitch and slip stitch into the one after. This is going to create our second loop, and so we're just going to repeat this until we reach the end of the round. I forgot to film it, but once you reach the end, you'll cut off your working yarn and fasten off with a knot. Now we're finished with the main section of our jewelry holder. I'm threading my necklace through one of the loops and placing it inside the jar to show you how to attach it. I didn't get a chance to make one, but I would recommend crocheting another circle and just popping it inside the jar so that your necklaces have something soft to rest on. And to add your earrings, simply hook them onto the mesh to secure. Now, you could stop here if you wanted, but I'm extra and I want my jewelry holder to look like a little flower, so I'm going to move on to part 2. Like part 1, we're starting with a circle, so I'm going to use the magic ring method, and I'm going to start by creating a V with the yarn. So then I'm just going to flip it around and go under the first bit of yarn to hook on, twisting up, and then I'm going to do my first chain. Now I'll add my second chain, and like last time, I'm going to add 11 more half double crochets into the center for a total of 12 stitches. So go ahead and add all of those in and then meet me back for the next step. So I finished my 12 stitches, and as always, I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the original chain 2 to close the circle, and then for the next round, I'm going to add an increase in every stitch until I reach the end. And as a reminder, an increase is 2 half double crochets in every stitch. So at the end, you should have a total of 24. Once you've finished your round of increases, meet me back for the next step. So this section is the center of our flower, and to create a little well to hold our rings, we're going to build the circle vertically by adding 1 half double crochet in each stitch, and we're going to repeat this for several rounds. I chose to do about 3 rounds, but you can make yours deeper or shallower by doing more or less rounds, so it's totally up to you. So go ahead and add 1 half double crochet to each stitch and repeat this for as many rounds as you want, and then meet me back for the next step. After I finish my rounds, you can see that my circle fits well within the opening of my bottle, and we have a little well that we can use to hold our rings. So if your bottle opening is bigger, you can continue to increase the circle before moving on to the next step. Now we're going to work on the petals. I'm going to do 6 petals, but you could do 5 or more or less if you want. This whole flower section is essentially a modified flower coaster pattern. I learned how to make a flower coaster from Vivi Crochet's tutorial, which I'll link in the description. But if you don't like the look of 6 petals that I'm going to be doing, you can definitely modify it, and the easiest way to learn how to do that would be to look up different flower coaster tutorials. So we'll start by adding our new yarn color by adding a slip knot and pulling through, and then just pull on the yellow string to tighten it all up. Next, I'm just going to chain 1 and add 1 single crochet into each stitch. So go ahead and add 1 single crochet into each stitch until you get to the end of the round. Once I reach the end, I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 1 to close, and for the next round, we're going to start building the petal. So we'll start with a chain 1, and in the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. And in the next stitch, we'll do a double crochet increase, which is 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 for your first double crochet. So go ahead and add another double crochet into that very same stitch to complete our increase. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do the same exact thing by adding 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And then after that, we will do a single crochet. So as you can see, there's a pattern here, and you're just going to repeat that formation all the way until you reach the end of the row, and then you should start to see the petal pattern form. I've reached the end, and I'm going to slip stitch into my chain 1 to close, and then I'll start on the next round. So I'll chain 1, and in the next stitch we'll do a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. The next stitch will be a double crochet. So I've yarned over, inserting my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And the next stitch will be a treble increase, so that's 2 treble crochets in the same stitch. So I'm going to add my first one here. And then I'll just add my second treble crochet into that same stitch we just did. And the stitch after will be another treble increase, so again 2 treble crochets in the same stitch. And in the stitch after, we'll put a double crochet. And the next stitch will be a single crochet. So this is the pattern for 1 petal, and you're just going to repeat this 5 more times until you get to the end. And so once you've completed that, meet me back for the next step. So the last steps I've already slip stitched into my chain 1 to close, and now we'll just cut off our working yarn, and we'll yarn over and pull through the string all the way to create a knot and secure it, and then you can go ahead and just weave in your ends. And at this point I like the shape of my flower, but if you wanted, you could increase the size and continue to make it bigger. The tutorial I have linked in the description has some great tips on how to do that. But once you get your flower to how you like it, the project is all done, and you can just add it to the main section, and you have a cute little flower inspired jewelry holder to organize all of your jewelry. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, if you recreate this project, please, please, please tag me on Instagram or TikTok. I absolutely love anytime I get to see somebody recreate your designs, and I love reposting the photos or videos. Thanks again, and see you next time.